So how do we add and subtract integers? Well, it's the same as for whole numbers, except sometimes the numbers might be negative. If the number we're starting from is negative, that's easy. Just start at that position to the left of 0 on the number line. As before, adding a positive number will move you to the right, and subtracting a positive number will move you to the left. But adding a negative number means we have to go in the opposite direction. Adding a negative means moving to the left, normally the direction for subtraction, and subtracting a negative means moving to the right, normally the direction for addition. Hey, we've just discovered what many students try to learn as a rule. Adding a negative is the same as subtracting a positive, and subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. But we don't have to have a rule for this. It's an automatic consequence of the meaning of negative numbers. Always go back to the meaning in preference to relying on arbitrary rules. Rules are easy to forget, or worse, to get confused with other rules and end up getting everything wrong. Go back to the meaning. Adding or subtracting a negative number will move you in the opposite direction to normal. We can do this as a physical activity too, just like with whole numbers. Keep the same convention as before, that is, walk forwards to add and walk backwards to subtract. But now there's a difference. If the number I'm adding or subtracting is positive, I have to face to the right before I walk, just like I did with whole numbers. But if the number I'm adding or subtracting is negative, I have to face to the left, the opposite direction. Try it yourself. See if you can use this convention. What about multiplying and dividing integers? Can you fill out this table with the correct sign for each result, positive or negative? Again, many students try to learn this as a rule, but then they get the rule wrong, because it's just an arbitrary rule. Instead, go back to the meaning of multiplication. It's repeated addition. It's just that now you might be repeatedly adding a negative number. So if you're repeatedly adding a negative number many times, then you're going to end up with a negative answer. And if you have a negative number of repeats, the sign is the opposite of what it was before. A negative number of repeats of a positive number will be negative, and a negative number of repeats of an already negative number has to give a positive result. Okay, so far so good. But now what about division? Well, it's just the opposite of multiplication. How many groups of -3 go into 12? Why, -4 of them, of course. How many groups of 2 make -10? -5 groups of 2 make -10. But I will say this. Be very careful with the remainder. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative, and sometimes it can be even more strange. Think very carefully about the meaning of the remainder in the context of the original question.